Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I've had a lot of people ask me, hey, how do you set up speed work? Because I talk about speed work, I talk about the merits of it, uh, particularly from even a hypertrophy perspective, everything else. It brings a lot to the table. But people will say, well, I don't understand how to set up speed work. Well, let me give you guys some basic templates. And it gets a little bit confusing when we see the bands and the chains because not everyone has those. So first of all, let's discuss basic reps and sets for a starting template on this, assuming you've never done speed work before and you have just barbells, you don't have bands, you don't have chains. What sort of rep ranges will you probably be best to use? You need to use triples on the bench, right? 3 reps. You need to use doubles on the box squat, doubles on the deadlift. There are a lot of reasons why it's done that way. We're not going to get into it here. There are reasons for it. When people start messing with 5x5s and stuff for a phase on this is not for the person who's new at these. In fact, I'm going to tell you speed boxes and speed pulls done as a 5x5, you're going to have to be in pretty good shape to do those, especially if you're doing 60 seconds between. They're not for the novice speed user. And I don't mean the novice lifter, I mean someone who's new to speed work. You need to stick to these base templates. Now we could talk about undulating the waves, the volume in them, but we don't need to do that. Let's just say we do 10 sets, right? So what does that mean? For bench day, you do 10 sets of 3. 10 sets of 3 reps with very, very short breaks. No more than 90 seconds, ideally 60 seconds. Okay, 60 seconds. It should take you 15 minutes to do your speed work for at least one exercise. 15 minutes. And that's a lot of work done. All right, what about the squat and the deadlift? For your speed boxes, that would be 10 doubles, right? You do 2 reps 10 times, 60 seconds apart. Same thing for the speed pulls. Do 10 doubles. Now, I undulate mine throughout the waves. But that's a little more advanced. You don't need that to learn how to do this stuff and get used to it. So the question becomes, what about if we're using raw weight? Because I've had someone say, so you set up 3-week waves. What do you do after the 3-week waves? Well, you repeat the 3-week wave. What do you mean, what do you do? Right? What do you mean, what do you do? And if you're stronger, you get to use more weight. So let's come over and look at percentages. Your good starting percentages, we can argue all day long about how fast you should be moving the bar. Okay. Well, you should be moving the bar as fast as you possibly can. It should be violent. That's the best way to describe speed work. It should be violently fast. And by fast, I don't mean you're flopping all over the place. We mean your concentric reps. You need to basically throw the barbell on the bench. If you weren't holding onto it tight, if you were trying to do a suicide grip on speed bench, the bar would leave your hands. If you're able to even do it with that sort of grip, you know that you're doing it wrong because it should fly out of your hands. If you have a real loose grip on the bar for speed squats, the bar should leave your back by a good 8 to 10 inches and fly up in the air and hit you in the head. If it doesn't, you're not doing it fast enough. And yes, I know that there are certain coaches who talk about needing to measure the speed, and some people need to go a lot lighter. There can be a degree of truth to that, but that's only if we're really getting into the true speed elements of it, not all the other benefits. That's not even necessarily true if we're just trying to maximize hypertrophy and strength and practicing our setups. Okay, it's not even true in that case, which is the majority of the benefits of this style of training. So we don't need to get into all that. Let's just discuss for people new to this what are good starting percentages. You need to know your 1 rep maxes. If you don't know your 1 rep max on your bench press, your box squat, or at least a variation of the box squat that you're using, and your sumo deadlift, don't do speed work yet. Test those. And if we're running conjugate, we do 2 max lifts every week. It shouldn't take you long to find your maxes. And if you haven't maxed on them in a long time, use your old maxes. So what do we do for our waves? We set up a 3-week pendulum wave. Week 1, you use 60% of your max. And yes, that's explosive, obviously. You're going to have to explode with that or else you're not going to get a training effect. Normally, even 10 reps with 60% of your max wouldn't give a good training effect, would it? But if we explode with it hard enough, it does. And the literature and research says that it does. So 60% in week 1. That means if you lift 100 pounds as your 1 rep max, or 100 kilos, you do 60. Week 2, you go up to 65. 65%. So if you lift 100 kilos or 100 pounds, you go to 65 on the bar. If you lift 200, that's 130. See how easy that is? You just take the number and multiply it times 0.65 in a calculator. Week 3, we go to 70%. Now, that's where it creates some confusion, because people will say, well, are we supposed to repeat the wave again? Yes. Well, shouldn't the weight go up? No. The weight is based upon percentages of your max. Did your max go up? Well, I didn't test it. Well, how much did all your other lifts go up on maxes? How much did your floor press go up? How much did your 2-board press or your bench against 50 pounds of chains go up? Right? These other variations that we do, because you're going to be rotating through those on conjugate usually. Well, how much did they go up? So if all of your benching, if multiple of your benches went up by 10 pounds, then maybe your max went up by 10 pounds. And if your max went up by 10 pounds, you go over to 60% of that, you would use 6 more pounds next time. Right? You could estimate what you think your new max is, if it has gone up or not. If you don't think it's gone up, you run the same percentages. People say, but do we get a new training effect? We're using the same weights again. Well, yeah, in an undulating wave, yeah, you'll get a training effect. But I need to ask you, why haven't you gotten stronger? Did you not gain muscle? Did you not eat enough? Are you cutting? And even then, okay, so a second wave, you're at the same weights. Telling me you can't run a 3-week system twice and make gains off of it? Do you honestly think that the advanced lifter gets to increase on everything year round? Okay, now if you're a more novice lifter, they probably have gone up. You test all your lifts again, find out. But the advanced lifter, it doesn't work that way. It might take a long time to put 5 pounds or 10 pounds on a lift. It might take a real long time. It might take you a year. So you just work at the percentages. They work. They'll still work. Again, people have to lose that novice mindset of, well, if I'm not getting stronger every single week, I'm not making gains. Well, yeah, that's true, but do you really think you're going to make weekly gains year round the rest of your life? Or are they going to be so slow that they're immeasurable? You guys need to welcome to the world of being past your first year of hard training. You get a dose of reality there. Okay, but you need to lose that mindset. You're going to get hurt. Linear progression doesn't work beyond a certain threshold. Deal with it. Learn to train harder, train smarter, keep making gains. Systems like this will help you. So what about people who use bands and chains? Very simple. We drop all those percentages 10% before we add the bands or the chains. What does that mean? 60% goes to 50. So our 3-week waves are 50% week 1, 55% week 2, 60% week 3. People say, well, how much band and chain tension? 25% of your max. It's not percentage of the bar weight, because you really want to try to figure out percentage. Oh, we do 50% and then we have to do a percentage of that. No. It's based on your maxes. The max effort system is the foundation of the conjugate and west side method. That is what we use for everything. Your maxes are life. You live and die off those maxes. You program the rest of your training off of those maxes. You program your supplemental work off the weak links in those maxes. That means we also program our bands and our chains off of our maxes. If your 1 rep max is 200, you put 25% of that in bands and chains. All right, that's 50. Okay, so if you bench 200, you put 50. Notice I didn't even give units. It could be pounds, kilos, stone, whatever. The British use a stone, which is the most crazy thing ever. They try to use kilos for everything, and then they go back and try to use stone, which is X number of pounds. It's hilarious. Makes it hard for anyone who's not a Brit to understand what they're talking about, by the way. You guys quit doing that when you talk to other people. Messes us up. But 25% in bands and chains, and then you do a 3-week wave. But usually if you have access to bands and chains, you alternate them. You do a wave of bands, you do a wave of chains. Could you alternate lifts in your 3-week waves for raw people? Could you switch to a different barbell? Yes. Could you switch to a different box height? Yes. Could you switch to a different deadlift height? You bet. Okay, you can do all that. It's fine. As long as you know your maxes. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.